Can the Freelancer Max be your new daily driver? Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at it. We're going to do a bunch of combat tests with it and loot a bunch of cargo to see how it holds up. It's definitely an older ship. It did get a couple of updates recently, so let's take a look at her. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Beam Eye Tracker. Beam Eye Tracker turns your regular webcam into a head and eye tracker for just $30. You can make Star Citizen way more immersive. For example, I've got my webcam connected here, a C920. It records at 30 FPS. If I look straight forward and then I look to my left, it will follow my eyes. And I can also look to my right, up, and down. And you can bind this with your head movement as well. This is basically what the software does. It turns your webcam into an head and eye tracker. If you want to upgrade your setup, check out Beam Eye Tracker. Buying from their website will help support the channel, so I really appreciate it. Links in the description. Now let's get back to the video. The Freelancer series is definitely one of the older ships in Star Citizen, but I do believe they're pretty decent. Definitely have pretty decent guns with two size 3s on the right and two size 3s on the left here. Let's go to the back and see the cargo hold. Here is the back. It has a little short ramp for an Ursa to get up. You can definitely fit an Ursa in here, but quite big, about 120 SEUs. But you need to minus about 12 SEUs because the middle here holds 12 SEUs and it's very difficult to get cargo in here. So about 108 in total. At the back here, you can fit about 232 SEU boxes in here. So definitely quite decent for cargo hauling. This ship also got its components. So it got it way before the Cutlass Black. So very decent. You can see there's a shield, cooler. The ship has 3 shields, I believe, and 2 power plants. Very power hungry though. So the signature will be quite big, but very nice. You also get a turret here that we can enter. Here's the turret view. I don't have the power on of the ship, but it's pretty decent. The only thing is you do get that bump, so you can't shoot forward all the way. It makes it a little bit more difficult. You can only shoot backwards. I kind of wish they removed it, since so many ships have turrets now that can shoot forward. But that's basically the turret. Nothing too special. You just point and shoot. Let's get to the other things here. Here's the useless cargo hold. Sometimes you can force a box in here, but it's mostly useless for now. In here, a lot of amenities. You get your toilet and shower, a little bit of a kitchen, I guess just a bar, another exit, which is very nice, plus 4 bunk beds, I guess, and then a whole bunch of seats that you can use, but mostly a solo ship or a 2-man ship. So for the cockpit, it's nothing too crazy. You don't get the best visibility with head tracking. You can see a little bit at the top there, but not the best. It is a Freelancer after all. The Freelancer Max definitely has a very nice paint scheme. I really enjoy the orange and a decent shape, very familiar to some of us. Let's go see what we can do in a combat mission here and there. I did max out my weapons, my thrusters, and my shields. I'll probably share the build with you at the end here so that you can see what I used for the combat test. For our first mission here, we're gonna load up some cargo and Argo raft. Let's take this one. We're at our mission location here. I'm just gonna go hide in the cloud and wait for our little ambush to arrive. Let's see what we can do with the max here. I'm mostly hoping for a decent amount of cargo, since I am running a bit low on credits. Recently I've been buying a lot of ships, so I need quite a bit of money. But we'll see what the cargo hold can do here if we get a decent amount of cargo. Otherwise, I'll do another mission, load up on cargo to test out the cargo hold here. And we can also see how the ship performs with flight a little bit here and there. It isn't the craziest ship for combat. It isn't cargo holder after all, but it does have guns and you can shoot things with it. I'm just going to make sure I set my flare count, since if you haven't noticed, this ship has a very big signature. You can see here 28k, 22, so we do need to set our flare count. I'm going to put mine about 6 or 7 thereabout. I'll see if the missiles will flare off if we get missiled. So far I have played with the Cutlass Black, the Zeus is C1 and a Nomad recently, so I have a pretty good idea how each ship perform. Usually I do about the same missions with each ship just to gauge where they are at, so I can definitely give a little bit of an opinion at the end here about each ship. Our target is here. Let's go see what we can do. There should be a supporting ship as well. Let's see if they will missile us. But so far I can only see the little cargo raft. Might be the white one. Wait, here's something. This is an origin ship. Not the biggest ship, but we can definitely deal with it. Let's see if that will flare off. So about 6 will flare it off. We do have quite decent weapons, but our capacitor isn't the biggest. Plus, we are quite fat. We're not the most mobile ship. The Cat is way more mobile than this ship. But also the Cutlass can't handle as much cargo. So it's definitely a trade-off. The Zeus is probably the closest one to this ship, where the cargo is pretty similar. The Zeus CL has a little bit more cargo, I believe, but it can't fit in Ursa, where this ship can definitely fit in Ursa. Plus the handling feels pretty similar. Maybe the Zeus is a little bit more mobile than this, but I believe both is pretty similar in maneuverability. If you can't dodge with a Zeus, you probably can't dodge with a Max as well. But here's our target. Let's see if we can take it out. Should take quite a while though. We don't have the biggest capacitor. Usually the Cathy can shred this thing because it has 300 in its capacitor. I don't know why they didn't do it to the Freelancer, give it bigger capacitor. I just guess it is what it is. Maybe because it has more cargo, or they just forgot. There we go. We got a target. Let's scan it. So for cargo, this ship has about 19 gold. It's about the only thing that I'm gonna take. I'll pick up another mission to fill up just a little bit here and there. If you take a look at my money, I don't have the most. A little bit short, so a good time for me to farm as well as use a couple of ships that I enjoy. Luckily, it's very easy to park the Freelancer Max. It's not too big and not too small. A pretty decent cargo hold. Let's see what happens if we load it up. I definitely think this is probably one of the best cargo holds in game at the moment. Sure, the middle there is a little bit weird, but for the size and the width, it's very easy to get boxes in here. Here is 16 ECUs. Should fit pretty comfortably here. Let's see, no hitting the sides or anything. It definitely did a very good job with the door. And just snap it there. There should be a little bit more. Here is another box, only one ECU though. And we can just snap this one on top here to save a little bit of space. So you get basically 2 high and one little box there on top as well. Here is our final box, only 2 ECUs, so 19 in total. Let me take another mission so that we can fill this completely. I managed to find 2 more missions here, 2 more Argo rafts, mostly for the gold. I want to fill up with gold, see how much I can make in total. But let's go to our second mission location here. The ship definitely feels very decent, for its size at least. So a very good option if you want something with a decent cargo hold. Maybe that can fit in Ursa. So quite a decent ship, not as big as a Corsair or a Constellation. Also don't have the firepower or the shielding, but it still has 3 shields. So it's a very good option if you just want to farm a little bit of cargo here and there with missions. Our targets are here. I'm pretty sure this ship can take out a Constellation. I have done it with a Zeus and a C1. Plus this thing has 3 shields and it's dildo shaped, so definitely it can penetrate those ships. But let's quickly get the raft here. There is also a saber somewhere that I haven't seen yet. There we go, here it is. Let's first deal with the saber and boosting to get on top of it. You do get quite a bit of sway with this ship though, so you need to be very careful not oversteer. Still need to get used to it here and there. Might need to go gimbaled eventually, but maybe I'm fine. Let's see. The blue weapons definitely concerns me just a little bit, because they can probably shut us down if our shields go. But we should be pretty decent. We've got quite a bit of shielding. We go. Now for the raft. We should be good here. The only thing is I don't like the capacitor as much. I'm used to the cutlass. Has so much ammo. So having only 75 at the moment per gun, not the best for me. But I can deal with it. The raft is getting pretty red. We should have it soon here. Then we can loot its cargo. And there we go. Let's give it a scan. So for gold, we don't get much here. We only get 8 ECUs. I'll pick it up. And maybe I'll fill up with scrap as well in the other contract. I do want to fill up the cargo hold though to see how it feels. But I mostly want to do it with gold. Let me just pick up that 8 ECUs quickly. There's our 8 ECUs of gold. Just gonna grab it. Snap it to the grid here. Now let's jump to the other Argo raft. Here's our next raft. I already killed it. Very nice gold. 47. Very pleased with it. Take a look at the other things here as well. Iron, scrap. Let's see what we can get here. I'm gonna try and fill up. This is definitely a bigger crate. Let's see if we can fit this in here. It should fit quite easily. But you never know. Might have to drop it just to get myself some leverage. Snapped quite easily. Let me push it back. So we pushed it all the way back. Let's take a look at the back here. It's completely flush. I don't think we can get 3 of them in here. If we were to try. A little bit too snug. But quite a decent fit. You can see it can fit about 32 SEUs. Plus you've got a little bit space to spare here. Let me get the other cargo as well. Here is more gold. About 8 SEUs. Should be a decent haul this. About 30 minutes of gameplay in total, I believe. Thereabout. Here is our last gold box. As you can see, here's the cargo hold. Let's quickly take a look. So you can't fit another 4 ECUs here. You can only fit about 1 ECU worth here. This is basically what you get, a 32 and 1 worth here. But I'm very pleased with what we got so far. Should be a very good income for me. I'm gonna go sell. In order to sell, I like to go to White Forest Station, pretty close to our corp and very convenient, not as crazy as Grimhex, so quite safe. Let's head over. Here we go, we're at the station. I'm gonna land and unload. We managed to land here. I definitely think the cargo hold of the ship is probably one of the best. It's way better than the Zeus CL, even though the Zeus CL can carry a little bit more. This one has the advantage of being wide open. You're not hitting your boxes everywhere, struggling to get things in and out. It's quite convenient. So I prefer at least the Max for cargo hauling over the Zeus, even though it's a bit less cargo. Combat wise, the ship is definitely not super bad. It's definitely a forgotten gem. You can do quite a bit of combat with it with its 3 shields. And its weapons are pretty decent. They're not crazy, but it's on par with all of the rest of the ships. The only thing is that holds this thing a little bit back in combat is probably its maneuverability, and you get this weird sway each time you put an input, so you need to basically predict it. So if you put an input, you need to know that you're going to have some jerk that's going to follow along. So don't oversteer. Oversteering is very bad in this ship. But I do think I would choose this over a C1 and even a Zeus CL. It's probably a little bit controversial, but having tried them all, I do prefer this one. Mostly if I'm going to be farming cargo like this, I think the Freelancer Max is definitely more for me than those others. Obviously the Cutlass is way different. It's very combat capable and quite nice, but you struggle with cargo for the Cutlass, so you can't always loot what you want. Gonna send the cargo down here. There we go, everything is down. If you're going to buy a regular Freelancer, I probably wouldn't get it. I would just get the Max in-game. It's about $1 million more. So definitely rather get the Max. But let's head over to the admin's office here. Before we go sell the cargo, I just want to give you a quick overview of the build I used so far. So for my weapons, CF repeaters, I just like the projectile speed of them. I did remove the turret weapons to save some power in total here. I didn't change out my missiles, but they're pretty decent electromagnetic, probably the best missiles to have. They're pretty good. For the shields, I upgraded my shields here to ramparts. They have the most shield HP in game. So very good. The best shields you can buy probably. And then for my power plants, you can't buy these. They are JS 400s. You will need to buy them from other players or go loot them. 21 power, the ship is very power hungry just because it has free shields. And then finally, a stealth cooler because cooling doesn't matter at the moment. You only need 1 pip in cooling for the most part for now. And then lastly here we have a Meta quantum drive. This is a very good quantum drive. It's fuel efficient and pretty fast as well. For power management, full weapons, full thrusters, full shields, and then only 1 pip in cooling to save us some signature. Here we go, here's the terminal. Let's see how much we can make in total. So in total we make about 495,000, pretty decent for about 30 minutes of gameplay in total here. The Freelancer Max definitely surprised me. I thought maybe it would be bottom tier, but it's my second favorite ship, and the Catalyst being number 1 so far, and then the Freelancer Max just because it has such a big cargo hold and can also hold a Nursa or an Ursa, plus very easy to get the cargo in and out. Obviously the combat capabilities isn't that crazy, but it does come with free shields, you can tank a bit, and it does have those 4 weapons, meaning its damage is definitely on par with the other ships. The only downside of the ship is maybe its shape, its oversteering, and it's quite sluggish. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider giving this video a like, and don't forget to check out Beam Eye Tracker below if you want to turn your webcam into an head and eye tracker. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.